handful of years ago at reporting day in Latrobe, I asked James Harrison out in front of those dorms to share with me anything that he might have been working on, any kind of specific goals that he might have set for himself for the coming season. And I know there's always a chance with him that you're going to get something back that's going to make you look like you asked a dumb question. But that's fine. That's part of the business. He comes back with, this game doesn't change. You have to beat the man across from you. End of answer. Loved it. Good morning to you. Good Wednesday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports, and this is Daily Shot of Steelers. It comes your way bright and early every weekday. If you're into hockey and or baseball, I also offer daily shots of Penguins and Pirates, but they and everyone and everything else will take a backseat to football on this day. Because today is about football. They don't practice. They don't do that until tomorrow. The only football-like thing that'll actually occur is the 4 p.m. run test, the annual conditioning thing that used to be that time when we would just wait for Casey Hampton or somebody else to fail it out so there'd be some kind of news over it. But this is the day when everyone has to show, and this is the day also where most of the team's bigger names will take the time to stop outside the dorms and talk to us. I haven't missed one of these in years, and I certainly won't be missing the one today. And I'm looking forward to hearing, even though they were just around 3 weeks ago at minicamp, from Kenny Pickett, Cam Hayward, TJ Watt, Minkah Fitzpatrick, Patrick Peterson, veteran, who will have some stuff to say. The new guys, the younger guys on the offensive line. I don't know how big the news is going to be from any of them. I'm not expecting anyone to make any sort of bold declaration. The goal for the franchise, as Alex Highsmith repeated in his press conference Monday regarding his contract, is to win the Super Bowl. And they're all going to say Super Bowl. That's not, again, making some sort of guarantee or whatever. It's just saying that's the goal. Well, that comes from the head coach. He's going to say the same thing. But I got to tell you, there's something else that I want to hear from this group. And I want to hear it in a way that it isn't necessarily poked out of them. If that sounds unfair, so be it. It's just one of those, you have to have some kind of a concept as a reporter when you're going to cover these things. And if I have an expectation of this team, not results-wise, but more personality-wise, I expect this team to be physical. Boring? Yeah? Well, guess what? So was Debo's answer to me. And he was right. And this also is right. Think about this for a second. Over the past couple of seasons, things haven't always gone well. Ben's final season, the stuff that went wrong last year, especially in the 2-6 start. The only times you would see the Steelers rebound, and I'm talking about off of some of the ugliest, sloppiest losses, they would just bounce right back the following week, is when Tomlin would, emphasize might not be a strong enough word, okay, really pound into everyone that they need to be the more physical team. What does physical mean? Well, obviously that depends on your position. But every position, every one of them, even QB, has a physical component to it, even if it's just being physically tough in the face of adversity. Quarterback getting thrown to the ground. This coach is going to want to see that out of this group tomorrow. Not 2-3 days into camp, not next week, not in the first preseason game. Tomorrow. That doesn't mean he's going to do backs on backers right away. That would be a little bit dangerous. But he's going to want to see them begin to exhibit the traits of a default physical football team, one that you will not enjoy playing even if you're beating them. He's going to want that to be the reputation of this team. And you know what? Between Tomlin and Omar Khan, and now you have to throw Andy Weidel into this mix as well, because he's made, or at least suggested, recommended a lot of the moves that have made this team more imposing physically. This is a fair and reasonable, and I would say somewhat updated philosophy. I know Tomlin has never stopped saying this. He's never stopped preaching it, but he hasn't always had the weaponry that he has now to be that way on both sides of the ball without worrying about this schematic or that missed assignment, at least not as much as he's had to over the past couple of seasons. This team can just go out and play football with a snarl. Can we agree, at least peripherally, that the talent on this team isn't overwhelming? Yeah, there's TJ, there's Minka, there's Cam, and you've got a couple of higher ceiling types on offense. But the talent isn't like you look at it and say, wow, man, half of these starting 22 are going to be in the Pro Bowl. You don't think that. You can't think that. I don't care how much of a fan you are. You can't think that. So the physicality becomes a major part of what has to happen for this team to ascend collectively as a unit even higher than the sum of its parts. I can promise you, if you come out to St. Vincent College, well, A, you're going to have a great time. B, you're going to see and hear a lot about this. You're going to see hard contact. You're going to hear the head coach and a lot of the people around that hard contact whooping it up. That's the atmosphere that Tomlin's going to want to instill. And yeah, somebody's going to go down. Somebody's going to get hurt as a result of it. You know, friendly fire or whatever. But you got to be able to do this. It's still football. When we come back, J1Q.
This segment of Daily Shot is brought to you by our good friends at Mike's Beer Bar. They're located on Federal Street, directly across from PNC Park. Mike has more than 500 beers on tap, including from more than 50 local breweries. Stop in and say hello. Tell Mike we sent you. Mike's Beer Bar.
Today's J1Q comes from Richard, who asks, how can we possibly know how good or bad this defense will be this year when the entire projected starting off-ball squad is new, except for Minka Fitzpatrick? That's right. Yes, that. Thanks for listening, everybody. No, but it's true. It's true. Now, DeMonte Casey, you know, for some clarification here, was here all of last season, and he did get to play about half the games. And Levi Wallace, who everybody's always telling me that I'm underselling, but Levi was a starter. He was your starting outside cornerback, and for all we know, he's still your starting outside cornerback. We'll see beginning tomorrow what kind of reps, what kind of levels are being assigned to Joey Porter Jr. and Corey Trice Jr. So in addition to Minka, there's two other guys that you could safely describe as being plug and play within the defense. But when you're talking about a lot of these other parts, and you're talking about going full bore, possibly, with the three safety set, you've also got to make sure that you understand what you're getting out of Keanu Neal, to what extent you can trust him for real in pass coverage, because I've heard that's not great. You've got to see whether or not Patrick Peterson can handle the slot. Number of coverage snaps he took for the Vikings last season in the slot, 0. You've got to see what you've got in these rookies. And those aren't really even the only components that are uncertain on that side of the ball. You're also looking at the nose tackle position or whatever passes in 2023 for the nose tackle position. They want, I believe, Keanu Benton to win that job. They want Keanu Benton to take a stranglehold on that job and set the Steelers as having 3 legitimate threats right up front between Cam Hayward, Larry Ogunjobi, and Benton. But we don't know that that's going to happen. Pretty much the only things that are set are the 2 edge rushers and Minka. So you're right. And presuming that it doesn't matter how well they gel or how long it takes is crazy. That's just not how football works. It's not fantasy ball, and it's not a video game. They've got to get to know each other. They've got to get to trust each other, and they've all got to be doing their own parts without necessarily compensating for somebody else not doing theirs. You've just got to be 1 out of 11, as they'll all tell you. That's going to be another subject for sure that's going to come up today a lot. Can promise you that one. I just want to throw out here before signing off for the day that this is one of the good parts of this job. I will not make a habit, certainly not publicly, of complaining about the challenges that come with it, the responsibility of covering all 3 of Pittsburgh's teams. But there are really, really good days on each of these gigs covering Steelers, Penguins, and Pirates. And this one might be number 1 when it comes to the football side. I'm really, really looking forward to this. And if you're out there, it can't be today, but tomorrow, and you see a guy walking around looking like he needs a coffee or 2, feel free to wave a hello. I'll be sure to wave back. Let's do it again tomorrow, guys.